Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Jerseys with Josh. Today I'm joined by fellow collector Eric Kovel. This is the first video in our featured collector series. We'll chat about how Eric got into the hobby. We'll cover 5 of the really special jerseys that he has in his collection. And thanks very much for joining me, Eric. Let's kick things off. How did you get into collecting NHL game worn jerseys in the first place?
So I've been kind of a huge hockey fan my entire life. I've always been a huge Caps fan. Living on Long Island, it's a pretty difficult conflict of interest there with the Islanders and the Rangers here. So I was always that guy in the building wearing the other team's jersey, both at Madison Square Garden, the Coliseum, and now UBS Arena. Um, but I have a connection with one of their old general managers, George McPhee. He was the one that actually got me into hockey. He brought us back into the locker room. We met with some of the players. And I think just from that young age, seeing what goes on in the locker room, all the jerseys piled up, getting ready to go in the wash, the Indonesian jerseys and the replicas, they never really did it for me. I guess I always wanted something more than what you're able to get on NHLshop.com. But I actually never knew that these jerseys were available for purchase until a few years ago, when I came across a listing on eBay. And I was like, wait, this says game used. This isn't a replica. And just finding that out, I found out all these wonderful Facebook groups exist. And I started out just collecting Capitals jerseys because, once again, I'm a huge Capitals fan. But over time, I started expanding my collection to pretty much every other team in the NHL. Currently, I'm only missing 2 teams, the Chicago Blackhawks and the Seattle Kraken. And just over time, my collection has accumulated from 1 to 20 to 50. Don't tell my parents. Um, but I have gotten really into collecting the Adidas jerseys, just because I'm more of a modern hockey fan. I'm only 22, so the late Reeboks and the early to current Adidas jerseys, those are the majority of what my collection consists of. And once you have these things in your hand, like it's a piece of hockey. And for someone that's as big as a hockey fan as myself, I mean, there's no beating that, having that in your possession. And I was actually going to ask you the same thing. How'd you get into collecting? Because I didn't see it in any of your recent videos.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. First of all, that's so awesome that you're so close to being done with one for each team. That's very, very cool. I think it's pretty similar to you, where I also was a kid. I started off loving trading cards, like many of us do, and those were really cool. And I remember starting to see cards come out that had little swatches of players' jerseys, and I thought that's kind of cool. And yeah, almost identically, like realized that you could buy these on eBay and from the My Gray group and from others. And this was way back when internet forums were really the only place to go. Facebook wasn't even really a thing at that point. And it was interesting to see the hobby kind of evolve in that way, but started getting included in some trades and some purchases, and just love the feeling of finding a favorite player and being able to buy their jersey and hold it in my hands and just feel connected to the sport in such a unique way. That's what sparked my love of the hobby. So yeah, man, and I'm so excited. I'm glad you reached out. You've got some really, really cool jerseys in your collection that I'm excited to feature during our chat. So we're gonna walk through 5 of them, and let's kick things off with a Vegas Golden Knights double patch jersey. I'll let you tell the story about it and show us around the jersey.
Yeah, so this one's actually Timu Polkinen's. It's listed as game issued, but something I actually did figure out through the Vegas Golden Knights forums, he was listed as taking warm-ups in that game. I cannot find any video footage, so as of today, it still remains a game issued jersey. But this is Timo Pulkkinen's period 1 jersey from not the inaugural season, but the inaugural game. I don't know if you want to flash a closer picture of that patch up, but this is his period 1 jersey. as with all of the jerseys from Vegas's first season, they actually do stitch the Vegas authentic patch on the inside, as well as the Migra Group patch. Vegas currently is not a part of the Migra Group anymore. I think they fully switched over to Vegas Golden Knight Authentics, which is their brand. But in my personal opinion, I think Migra is the best of the best at authentication. And this is just an insane jersey to have in my collection. I know that the players swapped out jerseys every single period for the inaugural game, which puts less than 100 of these things into existence. I know one of each jersey was kept by the players, and another set for the second period was actually kept by the team. How they let a period one jersey get out there, I do not know, because I believe those were supposed to be kept by the players. But in the general public, you're probably going to find less than 50 of these floating around. And
Wow.
based on my experience, I have not seen any collectors willing to part with them, just because they have one of the largest markets in the NHL. And I mean, an inaugural game jersey, you can't do much better than that. But yeah, Timo Pulkkinen.
Love it.
Yep. First game in Vegas Golden Knights history.
That's so cool. Anything inaugural is super special, even season, let alone the first game. So I'm right there with you. That's a super special piece. And I know the Kraken jerseys are a hot ticket this year. But what a special piece of NHL history, special piece of Vegas Golden Knights history that you have in your collection. Thanks for showing us that. Let's switch gears a little bit. You've got a Matt Benning Predators away jersey, and I understand you've got a stick that goes along with it. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so to a normal game worn collector, they'll see like a regular away jersey and they'll be like big whoop. But something interesting with this jersey, or at least that I find interesting, this is a 2021-2022 jersey. I don't know if you zoom in there. Mm-hmm. This jersey is actually not prime green. This jersey was a recycled jersey from last year because the Predators shipment of away prime green jerseys got delayed at the beginning of the season. So they actually didn't have them for preseason this year. So they had to use the regular Adidas from last year. So this was actually a recycled jersey from the 2020-2021 season. That was also used by Matt Benning at some point. I haven't been able to photo match it yet. I have been able to photo match it to preseason from the 2021-2022 season. And like I said before, I do live extremely close to UBS Arena. So when the Predators visited the Islanders earlier this year, I actually went to that game and I held it up to the glass with Benning on the glass. And as they were leaving the ice at the end of the game, he reached through the glass and he actually gave me his, let me just flip it around for you. He actually gave me his game used stick from that game,
Wow.
which I thought to be pretty cool. It's not often that you see players toss their sticks over the ice. And I mean, just having that connection with a player that puts normally some collectors would say boring, a boring jersey, it automatically makes it one of the favorites in my collection.
That is super cool. I love the story that goes along with it. That to me just really like underscores the ability to connect with players because of the hobby. And what a cool moment to share with him at the game. Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
All right. I know, as you mentioned, you've been a Caps fan your whole life, and we're going to cover 3 really cool Caps jerseys. Let's start with a milestone jersey, one the player scored his first goal in. Tell me more.
So this jersey here, this is Garrett Pilon's preseason and set 1 jersey. And on this jersey, I know you've mentioned in an earlier video, I think it's the Hockey Lingo video for Game Worn Collectors. You were talking about jerseys that have the A removed on them. And for this jersey here, I don't know if you could flash that picture a little clearer because my lighting is a little bit bad right now. But this jersey in preseason, Garrett Pilon was named an alternate captain. And this jersey is, I would say, probably my most hammered jersey in my collection. If you don't know what that means, go watch Josh's earlier video on the collector lingo. But this jersey, it's got multiple tears on it by the number. Um, it's got a giant puck mark on the shoulder that I photo matched to game use.
Nice.
And just all around, there's so many stick marks, tears down the arm. It's one of the favorite jerseys I have in my collection. This is one I have also worn to a Hershey Bears game, similar to my Matt Benning situation. And Garrett actually went ahead and gave me his game use stick from that game as well, which I find incredibly cool. Like you said before, being able to connect with a player, and have a jersey that they scored their, I would call it a milestone, first NHL preseason goal. I would call that a milestone. He actually did score his first career regular season NHL goal this year as well, which congratulations, Garrett Pilon. I wish I saw more of him in the NHL because I really think he deserves it. But as of now, he's still in Hershey, and he's a very solid player for them. So again, one of my favorite jerseys in my collection, just because of that connection that I feel like I have with the player.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing that one. And talking about connections, it can get even deeper than a sharing of a stick. So you've got a Zach Fucale reverse retro that I think holds some really special meaning for you because you've been able to connect with Zach and get to know him. So if you could tell us about that jersey and the friendship you built with Zach through the game worn jersey community, tell us about that jersey.
Yeah, so as most hockey fans know, in the 2020-2021 season last year, the NHL started the reverse retro program, which I do believe is coming back next year with different designs. So gotta start saving up. Um, for last year, this is actually a design that I've loved for my entire life. I also have a Nick Jensen game worn reverse retro as well. Love the Screaming Eagle. I think it should be their primary kits, but that's for another day.
Me too,
I know
buddy.
many people do love it. Yeah, I love them. But I've probably searched about 7 or 8 months after the Migrate auction ended, which unfortunately I did not win any of them. I actually came across this Zach Fucale. It's unfortunately only game issued because he was still in Hershey at the time, but I did come across this jersey on eBay, and at the time, I just wanted a Indonesian version of this. I never thought I would have the opportunity to own a made in Canada version of the Caps Reverse Retro. And, just seeing it on eBay, I just pulled the trigger because it's something that they're never going to make again. And it's just a must-have grail in my collection. When I did buy it, I did know who Zach Fucale was. He's played for the Montreal Canadiens, the Vegas Golden Knights, and currently plays for the Washington Capitals. He unfortunately has never been given his real NHL shot up until this year. He currently does own the NHL rookie record for shutout minutes. Out of all rookie goaltenders in the history of the NHL, which I believe is around 122 minutes of shutout time, until the first goal was scored against him, which I find pretty cool now that I own this jersey. But when I did post it on my Instagram, I woke up the next morning and saw that I got a like from Zach Fucale, which I thought was a fan account at first. But when I turned on and I saw he had the little verified blue check mark, I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually him. Like, he saw my jersey. And then later in the day when I'm at work, I get a little message from him saying he was just asking about the jersey. He basically told me, oh, I didn't even know they made that for me because he was still in Hershey. So I guess they made this assuming someone would get injured because I think he was the fourth string at the time behind Samsonov, Vanacek, and Phoenix Copley. So I think he was the fourth string. So I guess assuming two goaltenders got injured, he would have been the backup in one of the reverse retro games. But we messaged back and forth about it, and he basically thought that it was extremely cool. And I've connected with him later on in the season as well when he got his first NHL start this season. I familiarized myself with the rules that players have to abide by when keeping their jerseys. And I did let him know when he got his first career shutout that according to the NHL Players Association rulebook, that players are allowed to keep two of their jerseys throughout the year. So I did let him know that, and I do believe he kept that jersey because of that conversation that we had. So
That is so awesome. Not only that, you probably helped him secure one of the most special jerseys he'll have had in his career.
yeah, I mean,
But to
you
get,
only get your first shutout once, so
yeah,
especially in his rookie season. But otherwise, that probably would have went up for auction on My Gray, and someone would have bought it, and it would have stayed in the frame forever. So I'm glad that he gets to own that piece of history, and I feel good myself having something to do with him securing that.
oh man, I'm so glad. That sounds like a really cool friendship that you've built in a really beautiful reverse retro to boot. So very, very cool. And let's shift into our last jersey. I mean, we're talking Stanley Cup Finals here. SEF jerseys are exceptionally rare. You've got a Chandler Stevenson jersey to share with us. What can you tell us about this particular jersey?
So this jersey is, like you said, a Stanley Cup final jersey from 2018 when the Capitals did win the Stanley Cup. Yay. This is Chandler Stevenson's jersey. It was issued to him for games 3 and 4. He did take warm-ups in games 3 and 4. I believe this was worn in warm-ups in game 3 when he decided that I guess there was something about the jersey he didn't like and swapped it out for his backup set. So in jerseys that were actually worn or meant to be worn for that game, they do have this special patch in them for the Stanley Cup Finals. You will not find these in issued jerseys. I've looked on mygray.com. Any jerseys that are just strictly issued, they will not have this patch. So that means this was hanging up in the locker room or on Chandler Stevenson at some point in the Stanley Cup Final. He unfortunately did not wear this during the actual game, but still, just because of that fact, I believe this is an incredibly cool jersey. Especially noting how rare these Stanley Cup Final jerseys are. As a Caps fan, this is just one that I had to have, especially because they won games 3 and 4 at home that year.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that. Very special piece to have in your collection. Wow, Eric, you've got an amazing collection. It's been so great to chat with you and make this video together. Thanks for
Thanks for
sharing these
having me
really
on.
special jerseys with me and with the channel.
Thanks for having me on. Anytime.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it again. For folks watching, if you'd like to follow Eric on Instagram, you can do so at EK_game_used. And that'll do it for today. So please hit the thumbs up if you like the video. Also, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and you enjoy the content. Thanks everyone for watching and enjoy the hobby.